In the turbulent landscape of the Middle East, amidst the swirling sands and echoes of ancient discord, emerges a narrative that defies the ordinary. The year was 1987. The backdrop, the densely populated yet resilient Gaza Strip. Here, in a modest dwelling, bound to a wheelchair, was a man whose vision surpassed the physical realm. He was Ahmed Yassin, a cleric by faith, a revolutionary by choice. Though rendered quadriplegic and nearly blind, his vision for a sovereign state was as clear as the desert sky. Ahmed Yassin's life began in the unassuming alleys of Al-Jura, a village now dissolved into the memories of time. Born into simplicity, Yassin's early years were marked by a pursuit of education and a devotion to faith, the cornerstones defining his character. The year 1956 brought a turning point. At the age of 12, an unfortunate accident left Yassin quadriplegic, yet it was this crucible of suffering that forged his indomitable will. His physical vulnerabilities became the wellspring of profound empathy for the plight of his people, and a catalyst for his eventual politicization. From the blackboard of a teacher to the forefront of advocacy, Yassin's transformation was not overnight. It was a gradual awakening in the face of occupation, a journey through personal anguish that connected him with the collective struggle of the Palestinian people. As he grew in stature, his vision expanded beyond the confines of his condition. His voice, once confined to the classroom, now echoed in the mosques and streets, reverberating with the calls for sovereignty and self-determination. This narrative arc brings us to the pivotal moment when Yassin's personal tribulations intersect with the more significant political tumult of the region. It is here, in the crucible of the Gaza Strip, that a paralyzed man's dream of autonomy ignites a movement. Hamas, an organization born from the desire for liberation, found its unlikely architect in a cleric who, despite his physical constraints, embodied the unyielding spirit of a nation yearning for freedom. Join us as we peel back the layers of Ahmed Yassin's life, from the quiet corners of a classroom to the turbulent stages of political arenas, charting the course of a man whose vulnerabilities laid the foundation for a legacy that endures beyond his mortal days. Welcome to our exploration, How a Paralyzed Cleric Founded Hamas. Together, we'll explore the depths of human resilience and the transformative power of adversity to alter the course of history. Yassin's journey into consciousness began with the echoes of Al-Jura under his feet, a village that was taken by the Israeli Defense Force during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, but not before it set the stage for a story of resilience and resistance. In a time where education was a privilege, Yassin embraced it as his right, his pathway to empowerment. The whispers of destiny were perhaps audible even then, as he navigated the alleys of academia with the same tenacity that would define his later years. Life, as he knew it, changed one fateful day on the soccer field, a moment that redefined his existence. At the age of 12, Yassin sustained a severe spinal injury while wrestling with a friend, which rendered him quadriplegic. The injury occurred during a sports lesson with his school friends on the beach. In the silence of his new reality, Yassin found a louder voice for his cause. Paralysis could constrain the body, but his resolve was boundless. Confined to a wheelchair, his horizons only expanded, seeing what others overlooked, understanding pain, and nurturing a vision born from the depths of hardship. In the classrooms and through the verses he recited, Yassin's presence grew. A teacher by profession, he was becoming a preacher not only of faith, but of an ideology that would soon shape the contours of his life's work. The voice that once fostered young minds now spoke of liberation and rights. In every word, the personal was political, and in every lesson, there was a larger message for his people. As the narrative of his life unfolded, the pieces of a larger puzzle began to take their place. Yassin, the man who could not stand, was now a figure many stood behind, ready to take his teachings to the grand stage of history. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the turning points that shaped Yassin and the circumstances that led to the rise of an organization that would become both a social and a militant force in the struggle for Palestinian autonomy. But how does a teacher, confined to a wheelchair, transform into the leader of a movement? The road was paved with complexities of the Palestinian plight. Yassin's activism was gestating during a period of intense political ferment. Israel's military presence in Gaza was growing ever more contentious, and the Palestinian people's call for self-determination was reaching a fever pitch. Yassin harnessed this unrest, focusing on building social programs initially, providing services where there were none. His benevolence garnered administration, his leadership earned respect, and his motives, while rooted in piety, hinted at greater ambitions. It was a crucible of shared struggle that gave birth to Hamas. In 1987, amid the First Intifada, the Islamic Resistance Movement, or Hamas, was founded with Yassin at its helm. Hamas's covenant called for an Islamic state in all of Palestine. While it quickly took on the role of a social and political advocate, it was its military wing that drew international scrutiny. The organization's tactics, deemed terrorist by many nations, were controversial. But within Gaza, for many, Hamas represented hope, a stark contrast to the perception seen through much of the Western lens. Ahmed Yassin's narrative is a paradox, embodying the dichotomy of a healer and an instigator, a spiritual leader and a political figurehead. In life, Yassin was seen by supporters as a symbol of resistance and by detractors as an embodiment of extremism. His death only magnified his status, a martyr to some, terrorist to others. The legacy of Ahmed Yassin remains as contested as the land he sought to liberate. His life's end came at the hands of an Israeli airstrike, but the echoes of his vision for Hamas and Palestine resound through the streets of Gaza and beyond. As we close this chapter, one must ponder the enduring question of Yassin's legacy. Can the seeds of peace grow in a garden sown with such discord? And how will history ultimately judge a man who, despite the darkness of his own world, sought to illuminate the path for his people? As the dust settles on the narrative of Ahmed Yassin, the question of his legacy remains enshrouded in the ever-present fog of conflict that blankets the Gaza Strip. The Gaza of today is a tapestry woven with threads of resilience and despair. The fruits of Yassin's labors are visible in the robust social programs and the persistent sense of community that endures amidst adversity. However, the legacy of Hamas and the path Yassin charted is fraught with complexities. Peace remains elusive, and the echoes of turmoil reverberate against the barriers of the Strip and inside its borders. The impasse in the Middle East is not just a line on the map, but a crevice that runs deep in the heart of its history, its people, and the very soil that has witnessed the ebb and flow of control and resistance. Global powers continue to wrestle with the complexities of diplomacy in the region, often finding themselves at a crossroads between the historical grievances and the modern geopolitical landscape. In the streets of Gaza, the conversation about Yassin's legacy are as diverse as the people themselves. For some, he remains a hero who stood up for the rights of the Palestinians. For others, a figure whose methods and ideologies have perpetuated a cycle of violence. In the pursuit of peace, there are those who walk the tightrope of Yassin's dichotomous legacy, seeking to reconcile the needs of survival with the yearning for lasting peace. As the sun sets on another day in Gaza, the legacy of Ahmed Yassin is much like the horizon, where some see the night descending, others await the promise of a new dawn. We invite you to reflect on the complexities we've shared and to join us in the ongoing dialogue about the search for peace in a land that knows both the olive branch and the arrow. Please share your thoughts, and if you wish to dive deeper into the history and the current affairs of the Middle East, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated with our series.